a seriously huge game plan of stuff to get done on this thing, and now that SEMA is over, we can get to it. Everything in the engine bay as far as fabrication is pretty much done. We've got all the hoses and all the electric and all that stuff to hook up, but we are not going to worry about that for right now because I am looking for some huge visual impact and stimulation and something to get me rolling back on this thing. So now that most of this is handled, I want to come around on the other side over here and deal with these running board issues. We are going to raise this running board up. I've got to make new brackets for it and kind of get rid of this gap under the cab, get these fenders all tied together, and get the outside, the exterior, the shell of this thing really together so we can see what it's going to look like. I've got some really good plans together for this tail pan that we talked with the owner. We're going to do some kind of diffusers and stuff in the back, kind of give it more of a Mustang kind of GT look on the tail end. He's got some really good ideas for these top rails, tying it into the tailgate. And then we can start getting into the mechanics on the back like we did on the front end, getting this tilt bed floor together and figuring out our compartment for the back. So let's start hacking and throwing sparks and getting some of this stuff together because I am excited. This is what we've got going on here. You can see the top rail of the running board here where it's meeting the bottom of the cab right now. I've got a few Sharpie lines run across here, and I am going to cut that upper section of that running board out. Alright, so lightly tacked into place, I've got that section cut out that goes underneath the cab. Got it set so that the running board actually ties right into the side panel of the box right here. I'm going to finesse this curve here a little bit so we can deal with our gapping along the edge of the fender. That'll be super easy. It looks like I might have to extend the running board just a hair so I can close in this gap here on the side of the rear fender. As you come around here, this lower section that I just have tacked on, I'm going to curl that up and fill this gap in so that looks like a really nice piece. Alright, I trimmed this piece out down here so we can get a nice butt weld on there, and then the piece that we made got the nice little curve along the bottom, and then I folded it over so we got a little bit of the door edge on there. So that will get welded right on there. I got the cab corner welded in. I'm going to clean that up here with the flat wheel in a minute, but I just finally got this bottom door extension done. I still have most of the pinch weld, the original door frame and everything else on there, and then I've got that nice curve to kind of hold it shape. So we're going to get this tacked into it nice and slow, make sure that I don't warp this beautiful door panel that we've already replaced. thought you were taking a picture, so I'm sitting here all like, take a picture. Waiting for the flash. Okay, so other than the 3 brackets I need to rebuild on the bottom side, the passenger side is pretty much all fitted. Everything's tightened up, ready to go. Now I have a really nice solid joint between the front fender and the running board. We got that gap shrunk up underneath the cab and got a nice curved flat edge along the bottom of there. And then got everything tied into the box side and really nicely tied into the rear fender. So it is actually all one vehicle now. So I am going to go ahead, get these brackets done next on this side. I've got a pretty good plan on how I'm going to modify those to make them work and look nice, and then we're going to repeat all of that over here. I'm just about done getting the running board on this side. I've already cut it down so it fits up under the cab. I extended the door in the back cab corner back here, and I clamped it all in place. Got my little Sharpie lines on everything so I know where it will line back up. But just like the passenger side, the bottom of this front fender needed to be trimmed and raised like 3 inches. So instead of pulling the fender, cutting it, reshaping the bottom, and then putting a new brace on the inside, I actually cut the 3 inches off the bottom and left the bracing and everything up underneath. And I'm just going to re-weld the bottom to my new cut section. Grinder all smooth, and you'll never know anything happened. Clamp the running board on, mark my holes, get it all bolted together, and that just leaves me with these support brackets. Okay, now that we got the rest of the truck put together, we are finally on the back of this thing, getting that dealt with. I got that old rear pan that we test fitted out of there because it was really screwing with my vision of what we had to do back here to make everything work. We've got a couple of lines measured and done up on the rear fenders. I'm going to be adding an upper body line. I'm not sure how far that's going to go, but that's what that upper line is. And then the lower tape line down there will be trimming that fender and bringing that up so that it will match what we are going to be using for a roll pan across the back. So that will tie all of this in together, one nice smooth piece fender right across the back. My idea is to keep it looking very hot rod from the side, but as we come along the back here, it's going to have a lot of like GT Mustang cues in the design. So that's going to be very cool. That metal should show up here in a couple of days and we'll get started on that. But until then, a couple of boxes have showed up over the week. We do have the new steering column here, and all of the mounts and everything are done for that, so that should slap in relatively quickly. But the dash has also arrived. This is the one the owner chose. It has all the gauges, everything he wants, the correct size. The original dash was this oval thing, so that's why we still have that big chewed oval hole in the dash. But I am going to get all of that tied in together and looking uniform. So the first thing I need to do is make a cardboard template of what the hole needs to be for this and the mounting points. build that out of steel, and then we will manipulate it and get it set in the right place in the dash to make it look cool. So I've got this cut out roughly about where we want it to be. Got this piece made. This outline is the cutout we need for the new dash. Got lines here to make sure everything is centered. So I am going to slowly start tacking this in. Alright, so I've got the gauge cluster installed. It's all taped up right now because we still have a lot of work to do in here. I still have to cut out all the holes for the switches. Once we figure out where they're going to go, I'm going to slide the steering column in here in just 1 second. And then also need to figure out where our heat vents and all that are going to go. We do have the defrost vents installed and those pieces made up underneath the dash. So that should move along relatively quickly. And then I'm going to get with the owner, and he's going to make some decisions on this screen here in the center so we can get that all cut out and ready to go. And that will pretty much handle the main part of the dash up here. And then we can start moving down to the floor area and build this center console and get this cool shifter installed. With the dash done and the column in, we are finally back on the back end of this truck. I've got a big pile of sheet metal sitting in the other room. I already chopped up one piece as a start for the roll panel on the back, and basically going to copy this upper section here where it slides up in between all the pieces and sandwiches together, which will work out really well. And then pretty much from that point down, we're going to rebuild everything. So I'm going to go ahead, get all of this stuff notched where it needs to be, the holes drilled for mounting. I've got a few pieces here to be cut out, and then I've got 2 lines running across where I'm going to put this into the brake so that it actually brings that bottom section forward a little bit, because right now the frame section right here actually sits further this way than the slot where everything mounts to. So it's going to drop here, come out about 1/4 of an inch, and then it'll drop down flush with the front of this frame. Alright, so I got the roll pan pretty much how I want it right now. I made these little pieces here, and that's going to tuck into these spots and get welded in just to close up these gaps here. And then I made these pieces here, which will go along the side of the license plate. Once I get that done, I will pull this off and I'll fill in this underside piece here, and we should be good to go. All right, so I am really liking this so far. 75% of this rear roll pan is done. We still have to do the openings for the exhaust, but I'm looking to see if we can find some nice aftermarket chrome or like stainless tips for that. And then I still have to make the fins for the diffuser in between the plate and that the sloped area here. So I'm gonna lay those out, probably be 4 or 5 like 3-inch wide aluminum fins, and probably going to take those over to the local machine shop and have them do them so they're all exactly the same. If you look up under here, we got that smoothed right into where the gas tank goes, so that'll be a really nice smooth transition underneath and look really clean. And then you can see where the exhaust is there. There's just a little 45 on it, and then there's a really nice pocket back behind this. So if we can find those tips, we can get that tied in there pretty easily. So the next thing we're going to do is jump onto the back side of these fenders. As you can see right now, those tape lines I was talking about earlier now line up really nice with that roll pan. So you can see that that bottom where it's going to get rolled under, so that we have an even plane across the bottom. And then that upper tape line will be a little sloped like body line to bring it out, because if you look at it from the side, we've got about 1 inch or so that fender needs to come out to meet up with that roll pan. So all right, we got the bottom of the fenders chopped off and rounded them under, so those are actually finished on the bottom edge. So now all I have to do is the two little pieces are on each side of the roll pan. So I've got top and bottom of the trim line marked out where that's going to go. Everything's nice and straight, matches right side to left side. So I'm going to go ahead and start bending those pieces up. All right, this is the start of the passenger side lower fender modification that I'm doing. I put about a little more than a 45-degree angle along this top edge here and tapered it to about 0 at the top. And then I did a 90 on the bottom, tapered it to close to 0 on the bottom. So where that line is there, I'm going to start with the shrinker, and we're going to try to curl this thing around so it matches the bottom of the fender. So wish me luck. Roll pan and the rear end of the truck is done. Everything is all tied together. You can tell obviously we still have to deal with the exhaust, but I've got some parts ordered for that so we can get those cut in and installed. And then I'm going to make the diffuser vents here out of some like 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch plywood for now, just so I can get a visual on them and we can figure out how they're going to end, if this is going to be just a straight shot from here, if they're going to kind of curve and angle up or curve the other way, convex curve. We'll figure that out once I get those plywood pieces on and attached, and then when we make a final decision on those, I'm going to actually have the machine shop copy what I make out of aluminum, so it's something that we can polish up really nice and get it to tie in with the paint scheme and everything. But now that that is done and all of this is completely connected and done, I can get in here and we can start dealing with the tilt floor and the tubs for the wheels. I do have a good start on the tubs. These are some parts that the customer picked up. Obviously they're going to have to be much wider than these, but at least it gives me the nice curved edge and a flange to start with. That will be next on the agenda, is to get the rest of that tilt bed done, and we are getting really close to getting this thing over paint.
Oh yeah.